Hello and welcome to Live Coding Happy Hour for July 17th, 2020. We're glad to have you here today. We'll go ahead and jump right into the introductions and starting with Brad.
My name is Brad Tilton. I'm a developer advocate with the developer program here at ServiceNow. I have been developing on ServiceNow for about 12 years as a customer, partner, and now employee. I am sitting here sort of outside, but not really, because outside it's 100 and inside it's less than
that. And you, Chuck.
Hi, I'm Chuck Tomasi, Senior Developer Evangelist at ServiceNow. Been here for 10 years, customer for a couple of years before that, and I'm not going to go into the years and years, decades before that at this particular point. But I'm really happy to be here. I like Brad's background. He's gone all out for this with the smoker thing. And, you know, if you were here a couple of weeks ago, you got the start of this project. Well, we're going to be digging in deeper for it. So very excited to see what comes out of this.
Awesome. Thank you, Chuck. And I'm Andrew Barnes, also developer advocate here at ServiceNow in our platform business unit. It's coming up on years, like I've almost hit year 6 on the platform. I just was thinking about it the other day and I was like, I've been saying 5 a lot. It feels like it might be time for 6, and it is. It is next month, time for 6. And I specialize in integrations, custom apps, and large-scale development teams. So we are going to do some live coding, but before we get into that, we're going to introduce our companion on the show, which is our tasty beverages. It's a happy hour after all. Brad?
Yeah, so I was running low on time, so I did not get to find a summer beer, so I'm rolling with the Dragon's Milk Stout again, which is just wonderful, and I had one in the back of the fridge. So
oh darn, you have to drink your favorite beer again.
Slumming it with the good beer.
Nice. And you, Chuck?
It's not like you got to go to the refrigerator. All that's here is Bud Light and Miller Lite.
That's true.
Which is fine. If that's what you like, that's what you like. Drink what you like. Let me see what I got back here. All right.
The bartender served up?
Right. I've got the Moosehead Grapefruit Radler.
Ooh, that sounds a nice summer beer.
I sent her out for a Radler. She came back with this. I've never had a grapefruit Radler, so this will be interesting.
So I've got a Karak Red Imperial Ale by someone. I don't know by who. Somewhere on here.
Imperial. That sounds dangerous. Always sounds, when it's a double or an imperial, I watch out.
So I'm excited about that. So as Chuck alluded to earlier, we did have a show that we did some architecture and data modeling on for this cooking app 3 weeks ago. The link is in the description below. If you haven't seen that episode, you can watch that and catch up. And today we're going to be continuing on in that vein. And Brad, why don't you tell us some more about what you're cooking up?
Sure. To
the developer's kitchen.
So we did the week before, was that three weeks ago? We did, yeah, that sounds right, because we skipped one. 3 weeks ago, we built the data model for a cooking app. So we wanted an app that would manage cooks and recipes and what we do during a cook with my focus is really smoking meat or vegetables over a long period of time. And so I want something that I can kind of track how that goes, and then I can look back on later. And we have all sorts of enhancement ideas for this app. But the one that we want to focus on today is integrating with my Wi-Fi thermometer so that I can automatically pull some temps in to our app.
Nice. And I was going to join in on the fun today, but one, I've got a storm that's cut my power off several times today, and I forgot to take out a meat. So I didn't have anything available. I thought about it too late last night, and I was like, well, I guess Brad's going to be smoking alone tomorrow.
So yeah, so that is my smoker behind me. But
is there anything else we want to cover before we drop into the share on the vein of catching people up?
We'll do a quick review when we get into the app and the screen share here. So yeah, let's go ahead and get going there.
All right, let's do it.
You have disabled attendee screen sharing though. Could you enable it?
I got to change that default setting for this. There you are, sir.
It's working.
It's working.
This should be right.
I say that a lot when I write code. This should be right.
All right, let's see.
This should be right.
Do I need to zoom in a little bit, or are we good?
Maybe a little bit.
Let's go once. How was that?
I'll take one more if you got it. It'll be 125.
Let's go one more time.
Yeah, that looks pretty good now.
All right. So we'll go ahead and start in my instance here with my cooking management app that we built a few weeks ago. We have a few different tables in here, and I've added a couple of tables since then. But we have a cook table, which is kind of our master table where we are cataloging the recipe, what kind of food we're cooking, what we're cooking it on, what kind of fuel we're using. And then we've got some other things over there as well. And then something I added was this log table. So today I am actually currently cooking a pork butt that I started at, what was that?
Long time ago.
About 6:40 this morning, my time. So that's 9 hours ago.
So log has nothing to do with the fuel you're using.
Log does not necessarily have to do with the fuel I'm using, but yes.
Yeah, the smoker thing, I had to make sure.
Oh man, I feel like the puns are going to be prolific today.
Oh man.
And we're drinking.
Yeah, so I've got this log table, and this is what we're going to kind of focus today. But so I've got a timestamp category on what's happening, and then I have an image field that I added where I have taken some pictures, which I sometimes take pictures during cooks, but it's actually kind of helpful to have pictures associated with timestamps. And so today I was very diligent, and anytime I did anything to the smoker, I made sure and logged it. So we've got, I may have, stoked the fire, added wood to the fire, and I tried to take pictures of the pork as I went, and then I wrapped it right before the show started.
So how are you?
I feel like this is really in need of a mobile.
It is absolutely in need of a mobile. I would love to be able to snap a picture and then we're good. Snap a picture and set a value.
And it does this. All right. Yeah. Like that's
on my
calling out
list
for this so much.
Yeah.
We'll get
definitely. That is definitely on my enhancement list for this one. So we've got this, and we've got some other tables here, recipes, the source of the recipe, who wrote it. I have a Weber kettle and a smoker, and I use both of them a lot, and different kinds of fuel. So we've got some different sources there on the left of info coming into this, but the cook table and the log table are really our two main tables here.
So question, I wasn't here for the original show. When you're creating your log entries, what's that look and feel like?
Yeah, so right now,
it's not a traditional log. where it's just recording the action somewhere else. This feels more like you're creating entries there directly.
Yeah, so this is a new table where I am coming in and adding something.
Okay, so they're just records you're creating directly. They're not records you're getting from somewhere else right now, at least.
That is correct. And, you know, I think, so right now, everything about this app is manual. And the goal is to make it more and more automated as we move along here. So today's goal.
That's not a bad evolution for an application.
Yeah.
Start with the manual process and understand what your process is and where those automation opportunities are. Just so you've got the data centralized and scalable and everybody's, look at the same thing and you can make some quick reports. Then you go, all right, what feels manual about this? I've done this over and over and over again. Don't let the barrier to entry be, well, we have to do a process map and we have to find out who all the stakeholders are. That might be fine if you're working on a grand scale across the enterprise, but for, little departmental things like this, just get it in there and start working on it.
Yeah, and finish defining your process, since this was a new sort of from the ground thing.
There's value to be had just by getting it on the system.
Awesome. So what's on our agenda for enhancements today, Brad?
So today, what I would really like to do is I'd like to get some temperature data in this log. And I have temperature data and I don't want to manually type it in because already typing in these 4 things and adding the image is really too much. So let's automate some things. So on that note, I do have a Wi-Fi thermometer. My particular thermometer is called the Fireboard. You can see my smoking session for the day. Started around 7 and we're here at 4. And so it's obviously capturing a lot of temperature data here.
And you are hovering right at that 170 bubble.
I am. I just wrapped it. So you can kind of see where it went down a tad here, if you can see that. But so I wrapped just before we got on the show to kind of speed that up because I would like to eat dinner tonight and it needs to sit for a little while. We got to be at 200. So that's why. Yeah.
And they hang out at that 170. Those pork butts hang out there for a while.
Yeah. Yeah. It's when that's when all the good things are happening. The fat is rendering and turning into liquid.
There's all sorts of stuff that happens then. That's so true. Yeah. And you really can't rush that stage too much because then it defeats the purpose.
That's right. So,
but when you're looking at your charts, you're like, oh man, I wish this section would get on with its business, except for it's doing its business. That's why it's staying at that temperature, because it's getting stuff done.
That's right.
So cool. You've got this place and they've got an API.
They have an API. Oh, I had the API open. Yeah. Oh, well. Well, let's find the API. So they do have this API that's going to let us, it's going to let us grab stats from the thermometer.
Nice.
I was just here. Here we are.
So what's your plan? Do we want to do this on a interval basis, like every 5 minutes, just get a log entry, or what are you thinking of how you want to attach to this API?
So I'm going to want to do this 2 days. I think today what I want to do is every time I have a log entry, I want to go grab the associated temperatures with that log entry, which is we're going to need a place to put that.
That way your log is overloaded with 99.9% temperature readings, and every once in a while you have a picture of some meat.
There it is. There's this one link that I always forget where it is. All right, so this is our API. So let's look at the API, and then we're also, so I don't have a place to store this data yet in the app, and I wanted to discuss that because there's a couple of ways we could go there. But let's look at the API first, and it'll tell us what we're going to do. So it's a token-based authentication, which I already grabbed a token that we'll be able to use. And then there's a few different things that we can do once we have our token. we can get some information about the device, and this may be what we want to do. So if we grab info about the device, then it'll give us this latest temps attribute, which my thermometer has 6 different ports. So it should give us temps on the 6 ports. I typically use 2. I usually have an ambient temperature that I put on number 6, and then the meat goes on 1 or 1, 2 or 1, 2, and 3.
Your meat thermometer is schwanky. 6
it is
6 port probe, ports for probes. That's a lot.
So do you have a device table? I'm thinking down the road, you might have 2 or 17 of these things that you want to say, hey, go get the temp on this one, and then go get the temp on that one.
That is a good point. Maybe I end up with a bunch of smokers and a bunch of thermometers, and I want multiples. But no, I don't have a device table. That's a good idea.
So right now, how are you going to say, go get this? Are you just going to, I assume the API needs some sort of ID to make
that ID.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have the ID that I just grabbed from the account that I think we'll be able to use.
Brute force it.
So I think that'll work for now, but it definitely needs to go somewhere, whether it's a property or even better would be a device table. All right. So we have this device properties. I can list all devices. And then the other one is the session itself. And so the session itself will give me, I believe, I get a start time, and I think this is probably an end time, not a start time.
Yeah, it says configurable end time for the session.
Yeah, I can't imagine that a place would have their documentation incorrect, but so, we've got different things here. And then I think I can get, session data. So this is an interesting one. I don't think we'll use it today, but I could grab, the overall data for the entire cook if I wanted to here. And so this,
which is how they generate the charts you were looking at, right?
Yeah.
Is this session data?
Yeah. So maybe
it's an array of timestamps and temperature values, which is what the chart is.
Yeah.
Nice. So yeah, I think the first thing is we need a device table, and then we have to decide how we want to store the temperature returned data.
Yes.
So I'm noodling on that one.
So my first thought was just adding 6 fields to this log table, and then I thought, that feels icky to me. And I may have another device that doesn't necessarily have 6 probes, and that it just feels very rigid if we were to do that. So let's discuss while I go ahead and create this new device table.
Yeah. So while you're doing that, what's reasonable for a single cook, which is I want. How many temperatures do I actually ever what's the maximum number of temperatures that I could possibly want for a single cooking session of a thing? Feels like 3 is probably the most I want.
So I've done 4,
ambient, in 2 spots in the meat, maybe.
I'm thinking, what do you want to do with this data? What's the output? What's the end result? Are you going to be looking at it on a list? Is it going to go into a report? Are you just going to store it for statistical reasons? You're going to average these up. What do you want to do with that information?
What a good question.
That helps me figure out office related list. Is it good? Is it a name value pair field? I don't know. You got a whole bunch of choices that we could do on this.
And that's sort of the natural conclusion of any time someone asks for a report. I go, what do you want to do with this data?
or how do I add this field? Like, what do you want to? You tell me what you're doing. What's the business requirement? What's the driver? What's the output? Your output. So your input.
The temperature of the meat, right? That's important for knowing, what's going on with the, if you need to do anything, and have steps that are at particular temperatures of the meat. The temperature of the cook box is important because you need to know when you need to go add more heat or damp it down even, right? And then what other temperatures might you need? When
Yeah,
you did 4, what were the...
Yeah, so my smoker has 2 shelves in it. It's got a top shelf and a bottom shelf, and they actually run about 30 degrees different-ish. It kind of depends on, I think if we're hotter, that is larger. And there are times where I'm actually cooking something at a hotter temp than the bottom one. So it's helpful to know. I don't always actually need that because you can't really maintain them separately. So they're just a little different. But it is nice to know both of them. And then I only actually have 2 probes that go in meat. So I've only ever done 2 ambients and 2 meat probes. But, if I'm cooking like multiple pork butts in there, or, if I'm doing a brisket, I'm going to do, there's 2 different muscles on the brisket, and one of them's more fatty, and they end up cooking a little different. So I want both of those. But it's, I could do a whole bunch of meats.
So it feels like you need a probe entry, and you relate probes to a cook session.
So a probes, number of probes on I created this thermometer table.
Yeah, so a thermometer table, right? And then that will have the temperature. And then you just update the entries on that.
No, because the thermometer is the device.
Yeah, the thermometer is the device.
Okay. Sorry, I got confused. I wasn't paying attention when you were creating the table. I thought maybe this was an old one. Yeah, so that's the device you're using. I was thinking of a probes table
that relates,
or a temperatures table that has a probe and a temperature and a time.
Yes, I think that.
And then I relate those to sessions of cooking.
So it's not related to thermometer. It's
because of
log.
Yeah, I think on the thermometer, I would just want to know the number of ports that it has, because I could change everything around, and it really doesn't necessarily correlate to a specific probe.
It's more it's a network gear.
So let's give it a ports.
Are you a Fireboard certified technician?
I'm definitely not. All right. So, and then we'll create is it a probes table or just a temperature table?
No, I think it's a temperature table, and it has probes, which are a port on a device.
You could almost relate that 2 ways. You could go back to the device to say, I got this temperature from this device on this date for this session. So it's almost got to have two reference fields. You could almost, I don't know if a many to many would be appropriate here, but it seems like it's got to have 2 references because you want to tie it back to what device that temperature came from.
Yeah, I would want it to tie it to the device and to the cook, or to the log entry.
So you're going to, when you do a log entry, it's going to trigger a business rule or something that says, here, take the current record, which is our either the current log entry or the current session, the cook session entry. And then you're going to go get your readings, create those in a table. It says this probe is at 212, this probe is at 172, this probe is, whatever. And you get that information back. So you've got your temperature reading, you know what probe it was on, so you know what device it's on, and you know what log entry it goes with. I think having more relationships in here is better than trying to reduce the number of relationships.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Let's say we're going to have a log reference to the log entry. Are we in agreement at this point?
No?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
I thought I might get a no from Andrew. What? So this is a single temperature at a single point in time from one of
Which
the
may not be a
probes.
log entry.
Okay. Well, his initial requirement was that he wanted to, when he creates a
When
log
he
entry,
when he has a log entry,
okay.
he wants a temperature reading.
Otherwise,
But he may not need a temperature reading. Or he may not need a log for every temperature reading.
so there could be
It's reading temperatures all the time.
right. But
And
ServiceNow
we
isn't
only want to like action it we want logs to be sort of actionable, right?
okay.
Like
Yeah,
we've taken a picture, a snapshot, we've added wood, a thing happen, and a temperature is a reading that's constantly happening all the time.
You want to make flexible enough that it's detached from the log entry. You could just say, hey, you know what? Every hour I want a log reading. I want a temperature reading. What the hell? You don't have a log dependency.
And I think I relate the log to the temperature, not the temperature to the log.
Aren't you going to have a temp?
I may have six
yeah.
temperatures for one log.
Yeah, that's why I didn't make multiple fields on the log entry.
Okay. So it's fine for it to be referenced, but I just don't expect it to be filled most of the time.
Maybe not later, but initially, definitely.
Yeah, I think initially the only way we get a temperature,
because you're building
is from the log,
an M to 1, right? By doing this, so you're saying for a given log, go look to see if I've got any temperatures, and that's fine. Like that's fine.
Yes. But I do see your point where at some point I may want to just grab, like I may want to temp every 10 minutes.
If you, for example, grab all of the stuff from the session, so you could build a chart inside ServiceNow, most of those aren't going to have log references. They're just going to be temperatures and timestamps.
I don't think it's critical that they need them, but I think it's beneficial to log entry there so you can relate it to a log, a point in time.
Yeah, and I'm going to go ahead and throw a reference to cook on there, and that'll give us, if we did want like a related list of just temp entries, we'll have both.
That would make a lot of sense. Then you could do a scheduled read, and it almost feels like the SC task has a request item and a request.
Makes me so unhappy to have both of those there.
I know it is fairly redundant, but I do want to tie a log to the temp because their timestamps could be a little different, but I still want to know like which log entry grabbed the temperatures, and I don't know of any other way to relate them.
Yeah, I'm not stopping it. It makes me unpleased.
Does it also displease you that SC task has a reference to SC rec item and SC request?
Yes.
Would you rather dot block?
I mean that's reporting, right?
Yes, I am consistent in my grumpiness on these things.
So one of the things we're going to get back is let's look at what do we get back here. Oh, it doesn't really tell us. An array of the latest temperature readings. I think it's going to tell us which channel it is or which port it is. And
yeah, I expect that array to be 6 long for your device.
Yes. Name. That's going to end up, I think we're going to calculate a name and then let's tell it port.
Yeah, so you're going to want ports, right? Because you'll get 6 of them and you'll need to store them in separate entries.
I just put it in a JSON string. Be done with it.
I want 6 of
really? Because then you'd have to parse it for any time you want to do anything with that data.
I'm just kidding.
Were you making joke?
I'm just kidding.
Okay.
The only time I store JSON is if I can really, if nobody's going to be looking at it, like it's an interstitial stopgap to be an import or something.
Mark has a really good YouTube pun on the YouTube with too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah, he does.
Oh, like I needed to call that out for our.
Good job, Mark. I'm
All
glad
right.
that storm's passed me by, and I'm not gonna lose power again now that the show's actually running. I lost power like 4 times right before the show, so I'm delighted.
So I'm going to add a related list here for our temperatures, just so
I'm just here for the
see them.
comedy too, Mark.
All right, I think that is everything that we need.
For now.
I think we have a place for everything, right? I did some pork chops the other day too. All right, so I want to make
Everything
sure
in
that
its
we actually get to.
Connecting to the thing? Yes, let's do that.
Yeah, we should probably get to that. Are we doing a custom spoke?
Yeah, I think we need to start with an action probably.
Do you want to put that Fireboard stuff in its own spoke, or are you making it part of your Cook app spoke?
I'm going to make it a part of my Cook app, or we'll do it in global. Let's what pops up.
Nice. And upside down, Andrew, I definitely have
There we go.
UPSs, which is why I didn't lose connectivity through any of that. So, but they can't run. You know, I don't have a generator, so I can handle blips. I can't handle out for an hour. It's not a thing.
Those 2 things.
Let's go Fireboard.
So all of my internet and my desk is UPS'd.
What is the standard naming convention for an action that's going to be calling out to something?
Well, first you don't call it Fireboard because
Right,
it should be in the Fireboard spoke. But anyway,
but he already elected.
Chuck already asked.
but you already elected. I know I was there, but so you put Fireboard.
All right, we can do this right. Let's do it right.
Because you might actually
Wait, I already
share
have
the
Studio
Fireboard
open.
spoke with someone else who doesn't need your cooking app.
That's true. I can create a new
And in fact,
application. There
I'm
we
now
are.
going to ask you to share your Fireboard spoke
Spoketoberfest.
that is separate from your cooking app.
He's gonna have one in the bank for Spoketoberfest.
Yeah, let's create a role.
Yeah, just click continue in Studio Advanced, like a true developer.
Oh, now it's not
Oh
gonna.
How dare
no,
you.
mistakes were made.
You don't
Yes.
need to spoke.
There we go. Now
There
we've got it.
But they had Flow open already. Maybe not.
Oh yeah, this one gives me a flow in a new window. Huh?
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Yay! A new
I don't want
flow.
Flow or a subflow, right?
I mean, action's fine. Yeah,
That's what I
action.
want.
Now we're in Fireboard spoke.
So
And so
what's
now
our-
this should be
what's the good
descriptive of
naming
what you're trying to
convention?
do. Like, be descriptive of what this action's going to do.
So
you
we
getting
want to
temperatures?
get.
Read
We
temp.
are getting device in. So this is basically
they
going
call
to
their-
have this
Yeah.
device properties is going to give us the latest temps and
There
channels.
was a list devices too. Would you want to periodically list your list devices?
Nah, we're not building that. We just want to retrieve known ones.
Yeah.
Okay,
Device properties.
Let's do
So, like,
device API.
but don't you send it
No,
a
'cause
device
it is
ID?
No, like
We do. So this is going to be.
which one are you actually going to call?
We're going to retrieve a specific
Good device.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
let's call it that.
device information, like get device information.
I find myself putting
I like that.
a lot of actions though, and it gets a little mind numbing.
To say what?
Device information.
Yeah, I've if it's more than one, I'll do a look up something. If it's one, I don't know. This is something I've been struggling with for the last few weeks as well. Is how do you appropriately name them? Because many of your integration things are either get or put, And it's like, that can't be the prefix for all of them. I think we're thinking HTTP method too much.
I mean, but that's what my action is doing. So
I know.
if you abstract it so your action's not doing a get and a put, then
I think it's actually doing a post.
Yeah, it's probably.
But
I was
no, it is a get.
In his yeah. Then it's a get.
All right.
You label it later, but you can't rename it. It does the same thing as tables. Your action name is your action name forever. So
for all time until you edit it by hand.
So we are going to get a device ID, and that's what we're
mandatory
use.
Because it's not useful until you do that.
Save and test.
just say save and test, because we're not yet at the test stage. 0 steps.
Come on.
All right.
Get an early success, honestly.
Are you doing test driven development? I fail first and then I start building.
Oh, I didn't.
Oh, Brad.
Come on.
Oh,
that's awful.
Fail first.
Now we're disappointed.
That's a fail.
That's going to take
a big time fail
just to activate that plug.
Oh.
All right. I will get you IntegrationHub loaded. You go finish doing some data modeling and putting those related lists on the
I think I need a connection probably for this, right?
90794.
Can I create a connection for Fireboard?
The chat is cracking me up. So, all right. Work done? No, but we're 90% agreement on a column name.
That's about right.
I mean, 90%'s victory.
Yeah.
What color's the shed?
What is my go away?
We need the shrubbery.
No, I think I'm going to be able just to paste in.
That looks like the right amount to paste. When you do your connection and you do your resource path, where do you leave that slash? Do you put it on the connection or do you put it on the rest resource path?
That's a great question. I always
end on not a slash and I start on a slash is my policy.
I like that.
Because I end on not a slash because I'm not sure something will come after it. And if I add something after, I start with a slash.
But if you have a slash in your API key and you accidentally put one into the path, it won't hurt anything. Double slashes in URLs are ignored.
Yeah,
I just asked me for their naming policy. I gave you one.
That's the actual term.
You are technically correct, Andrew. You answered. Might not have been the answer I do, but
what's yours? Slashes everywhere?
Yeah, I usually leave the slash in the connection and then leave it off of all the REST calls.
Okay.
All right. I think I got all this created correctly.
I wonder if we have a corporate standard. We should probably ask Josh.
I'm sure there's a standard. Upside down Andrew says that IntegrationHub automatically removes double slashes.
Oh, wow. Nice to know. I wouldn't be so confident we have corporate standards.
All right. If I do a refresh,
I mean, it's still loading. So, I mean, I started it. It's going.
What's going to get done
yet?
IntegrationHub.
All right. So what if we pretend like we know what we're going to get from our? Oh no! All this action's going to do is make our REST call, and then we're going to want to do something with it in a flow.
Can you fake it with like bceptor? Or is that too much work?
We could just
I mean, bScepter won't
build a
help him
JSON
add a REST
object.
step here.
Oh, yeah. Well, you could curl it without exposing your authentication token.
I can.
But I suppose that's sort of academic at this point.
Yeah, so if he wanted
What
to
if we
go
just-
retrieve a thing, he would use the Postman right now, not bScepter.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right. bScepter would be if we had IntegrationHub, but no target.
Right. It's loading. It's getting there. It's close. Did you set up your credential already? I wasn't.
I
paying
did.
attention.
I think I may have even done it right, which would be great, but I
Ooh,
did set something
that'd be
up.
fancy. And we have where we want to store it and how we want to store it, which is a timestamp and a. Why don't you look at the time, and see if we have to do any conversion and work on that problem, because
Oh,
that's
time
always a time
Yes.
waster.
For those of us that were laughing at the chat room, where you put in what, an API key, or what did you put in for your credential?
Do it. I put an API. Yeah, I have an API key in there.
Okay, so you're using that as your authentication token that you got back from.
Yes, I already grabbed the token.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good.
I did a
Nice.
little bit of pre-work.
I love a little pre-work.
Not the right pre-work to activate integration hub.
Had to be done anyway.
So here, let's see. I got to reload.
Well, it wouldn't even show even
Yeah.
if it did. So
It's like toilet paper. It'll get used eventually.
All right.
Almost.
I mean, I'm watching the indicator go by. I'll let you know when I think it's ready.
Exciting is watching status bars go by.
So what
let's
if we
go add it on the form? Like, let's go see how we want to look at the temperature things from our log and or from our cook. So we can do that right now.
can? All right. So here's my log. What I want is I want some temp data. I kind of want it in the column here, but I at least want to be able to see it correlated with each.
So if you have multiple temp datas for a log entry, how do you want to see those? Do you want to see those as an array?
You could do it as an array. You could do it as just a string up here that says, temp pipe, temp pipe, temp pipe. I mean, you could, for glancing at it like this.
Because we haven't put anything in logs for temps yet. So we have a reference from temp to log.
Right.
And so you've got an M to 1 that you can show here, but you can't see that in the list view of the logs on the cook.
Right.
Yeah, and I think eventually I'm just going to want to look at this on, I'll probably just want to look on a chart and see, all right, this is what my temps did. Right now I can look at this chart and see, here's where everything's at.
Yeah.
But I would love to know what corresponds.
Like that embedded into your cook session, right?
Yeah, I want a temp to be direct. Like, I want to know which temps are actionable on the cook that then kick off things.
Sends you a Slack message. Time to throw a log on the fire.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to do is
I have some
create
of
a
that
log
in-
entry, poked
in the
Brad to
fireboard.
put more fire in me.
Light a fire under them.
So we did associate. Let's go double related lists, and we'll just make Andrew cry. There we go.
I need a good cry this week.
This is a really fun use case, Brad. I mean, you've got a lot of data modeling, and we're having some great discussions that you have to go through for every app.
Yeah, this
There's a lot
is
of
a fun use case.
There's a lot going on. All right.
So I think what I want to see on my cook is want to see the current temperature on the like at the top of this. So I want my log to show me the last thing. So I want to see the newest. I basically want an activity log, not a related list. I want to see the last thing that happened, and I want to see the relevant temperatures right here.
Like a journal field, a journal input field might be interesting here, Brad. Your flow
could do that, yeah.
So boom, here's your temperature readings. You could still log them to the related list, but you could also put them into an activity history.
You remember when we extended this table from task kind of randomly?
Additional comments.
There we go.
Wow, that was a good call. Thank you, former sober us.
All right. Well, I think initially we want to go ahead and populate this temperature table.
Yeah.
With
some temperatures.
The temp and the thermometer, and then we'll kick it off from a log so we'll know that. And well, it'll have the cook.
Yeah.
Because it'll know that.
Let's put a couple in there. Like fake a couple.
All right.
You know, we could
just
grab
so we can
couple.
see what it looks like.
Let's see what it was around what was this? I got 2:45.
All right.
So at 2:45,
which I think is right when you showed it to us, we were at 2:42.
Yeah, we've got 212.6 and 172.8.
Okay.
So you guys remember that?
212.6.
178.
All right. I'm going to make this some sort of calculated field. What's the first one?
212.
276 did not sound right because then we have a problem. And this was actually, we're going to call it, I think it calls it channel 6 and the.
Okay. And then we need to pick that log from that time.
Do we have a thermometer in our device table yet?
No, we haven't populated any thermometers yet.
Oh yeah, that'd be a good idea. What was it? 245.
240.
More or less.
I thought, yeah. Well, we'll start there. It's an integer field.
You made it an integer field.
That's my fault. I make everything an integer field. All right, so.
Well, then you round it. It's 212.
Not for Brad. He's cooking with
we're going to call it 213.
Here goes your precision.
All right. Well, let's.
There's one.
What was the other one?
It was 176. Soon I'm gonna get you to install metric base, and no, I'm not. By the way, Flow Designer is done and ready.
All right.
Yay. Use translation on the temp field so it's compatible with normal people.
Do I have to get totally out of this?
212,
Probably.
100.
Yes.
There. That's the easy one.
Flow Designer does a lot of loading stuff at like
you know what?
pure start load time.
Yeah, that's why it takes a while to start up, but
yeah,
doesn't have to do a lot of that stuff on the fly.
Actions. Every list in ServiceNow should be sorted by updated.
Just automatically. And yay. So we're going to use a REST message. I have Fireboard. Maybe that'll work. Our resource.
And what's your resource path?
Let's do some tab switching. Nope, that didn't do it.
All right.
Oh yeah, we need our
Devices.
device. What we need to do is we need to go populate
The
Table entry.
our table.
Device
Which,
table?
when I
'cause we
created
need
that table,
our device ID populated in there, right?
yes,
You don't have your device ID memorized?
I have it in a different window. You know what? We can start with. We'll just start with the actual device ID, which I have copied.
Oh, yeah, and just plop it in there.
Yeah.
And say /device and /paste, just
Brute force
to get a thing rolling.
Yep. There's
You
my
need device
ID.
in there. Devices.
/devices.
Yeah. Oh, did we get a? Did it give us the resource path?
Yeah. It gave you
The base, but not
Oh, here
the
we go.
resource.
Yeah.
You need /devices. You need /devices.
Should I spell it right or no?
No, definitely not.
Reminds me of our newsletter discussions. Somebody's typing and somebody's talking, and neither are getting it right.
And then we have real-time temperature from device. This is actually not the one we were going to get, but that's kind of the one I think we want.
Yeah, let's get that one.
Let's
That's
get
the one
this
we want, because that's the one we're going to call when we want things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Temps.json. So we
Okay.
need to give it, I think, an authorization header.
We need to
I
accept.
believe, right? That was what it, authorization, and then the token.
And then you drop in token : and then you drop in that credential value.
I actually put it all in the credential value.
You put in token :
I did
In the
put
credential
token.
value? Because you just
I put
grabbed the
in
device ID.
token space.
Token space.
Yeah,
Generally, you wouldn't put that into your credential.
you would not.
Yeah. And you grab device ID, not the credential.
You are correct, Andrew. Again.
We'll fix that on in post.
We'll fix that in post. All right.
Fix it in production.
All right. So I think that's all I got to do.
All right. We can execute that then. Let's see
see.
what kind of interesting we get.
Device ID.
We didn't even use that input.
But
So
that's okay.
We did not. Well,
You
here
can- you can type
We'll
Bob
input
there.
it anyway.
you just say Bob. It doesn't matter. I'm not using it.
Temps.json.
Good. Thanks, Bob.
Thanks, Bob.
Let's see if it works.
Dun dun dun. Completed.
Oh.
No error.
Something.
Uh,
Hey, 200. That's a nice number.
that'd be great.
Response
188.
Look at that. 188.
Nice.
This was both successful and this looks really good for my timing for
And
dinner.
Yeah, you can actually
So-
eat dinner tonight.
Yeah.
Like,
I think we've all written the function.
so
to
we've got
time.
channel, and then a number, and then a temp, and then a number. Nice. I like this. And the
Created.
time format looks nice and
Degree
easy to
type.
convert.
That's your Fahrenheit or Celsius.
That's yeah.
Shouldn't Fahrenheit be number one? I'm just kidding. That was specifically for upside down Andrew.
and
Um,
any of the other people with reasonable numbering systems and things in the world,
Everyone else,
which is
in the
pretty
world.
much everyone else.
Yeah.
Except
Yeah.
the Brits and us.
All right.
That's
so we got
some that's some gold-plated victory right there.
Do we think in 5 minutes
We
we can
installed
actually?
IntegrationHub and we got a correct response back.
We're getting an extra quarter point on our beer ratings today.
Yeah, my
right.
beer's getting some victory points today. What did you say? What do you want to do in the last couple minutes here?
Should
Brad?
we try to write this to a record? It's going to involve.
I
We'll be
mean,
able
you
to
need
do
to
everything but
parse it.
the time.
And then
We
write
do
it
need
to
to
a
parse
record.
it. Should we
I'm-
wait and
I'm
parse it in
feeling
a
like-
couple of weeks?
I'm feeling like that's not reasonable in the last couple of minutes.
I think that's right.
Yeah, that feels like more than a 5-minute op.
I think this
Alright.
is. I'm comfortable ending on this victory.
Well, actually, you know what?
As long as you just go and put your device from the input into that thing.
Yeah,
I'll
let's
end
do
on that.
So let's take.
I could
So
write
in your flow,
I could do it.
Oh yeah. I'm
in
making
the
it go away.
action, you actually, instead of hard coding it, you
Mhm.
drop in device
Yeah. let's
ID.
keep that. Watch, we weren't paying so much attention. The device actually has the token space in it.
All right, so let's try this again. Should I save it? Maybe.
Save it.
I try to just always save everything.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, this beats the old scripting method by a long shot.
Yay.
All right. Nice.
We even went up a degree.
We even
part
went
of
up.
a degree.
This is victory. Victory has been declared.
All right.
You can stop share.
I will stop sharing now.
Nice work, gentlemen.
That was a good victory right there. So I'm sorry we didn't have IntegrationHub installed, but we got it done and installed. So the things we did today, we extended our data model some because we had new requirements, right? And we had a nice discussion around how we actually want to do that, and there's still some refinement I think we can do there.
Mm-hmm.
And we just are overloading it for now until you actually figure out how you want to use it. And so once we start getting some data in there and do a couple of cooks and decide, one, how you want to action this data and how you want to use it potentially later to do some, retrospectives on should I have done something differently along the way and adjust my process based off these temperatures I got and the results I got that the previous time. Because you can compare and say this cook was awesome and this cook looks awful like that, but it wasn't the same. Let's figure out how to actually get there.
And we're going to license this all to Famous Dave's.
and I think we've done you certainly have done a reasonable data model for getting us close to actionable stuff here. Brad and Chuck, y'all did a good job the first time, and even today pushing on the connectivity issue, appropriately so. So it felt useful and good, and this is a fun topic. Like this has been enjoyable.
Everybody wants to know, is the pork butt done yet?
I mean, it's pretty close. Like,
yeah, we're about 30
passed the
minutes away.
plateau, so it's well on its way.
It needs to sit after we pull it. It's got to sit for at least an hour. So
you're obliged.
That's the hard part.
To put a picture in the SN Dev Slack channel somewhere.
I definitely will. Yeah.
So anything else that we learned today specifically? Nothing's jumping out. Like a fairly simple API.
Good REST response, easy to parse. We should be able to get that.
Yeah, that's super parsable and easy, and they didn't do anything wonky with the date.
Yeah, so the time is your typical, what do they call it? T time?
Yeah.
Z-time,
Z time.
In fact, if that's the current time, Brad, you don't really need to save that. That's your log entry will be created at that time. You get sys created on
for that API.
Yeah.
That one's easy because you don't even care. It's right now time.
Yeah.
For the other one, it should still give us that in the same response type. It is my expectation. So those will be easy to parse. But yeah, good point, Chuck. That we don't even need to worry about that.
Like, here's your reading time.
Same
time the record was created every time. I'm not opposed to throwing away a few parameters if I already got that information somewhere.
So we've got our temperatures from multiple probes from the device, and we even have an architecture that could handle multiple devices with multiple probes. And now we just need to tie up the parsing of that into the data records, and then decide the action steps, so that automation that we want to do. Because that's the key thing for me. That's why I want an app like this for me is go put some more wood on the fire. Like that's what I need in my life is it's either getting too hot or too cold in there, and I need to go do something and let me know.
Then you hook it up to your smart a smart smoke alarm to know when your fire breaks out.
Anything else you guys want to share before we wrap up?
Oh, good stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Let us rate our victory drinks then.
Yeah. So
anytime you do an authentication and get correct responses, like that's a victory drink day.
That's
yeah.
why
I mean, we
API keys are easier for that kind of thing.
Well, at least it wasn't OAuth today.
That's true. Yeah.
I don't think I can handle more OAuth.
My
we know
dragon's milk. It was real good, and we got and we had victory. So we'll go 4-5.
Dragon's milk is a great 4-5. And you, Sir Chuck, how was your nice summer Rattler?
I'm digging this. This is going down really nice for a hot summer day. It is about 40 degrees C here, so you'll know it's warm.
Ooh.
I'm gonna give this a 4.5. Also, I could probably put another one of these away without thinking about it, which is a little dangerous for me.
Nice. And it was 92 before that big storm came through here, so it's pretty hot. So my Karak red ale today, with the victory, it's a 4. It's good, but it isn't amazing. So thank you everyone for joining. Some great fun engagement in the chat today. 6. Ooh. Brr.
6. Oh, that's his temperature. I thought he was rating a beer.
Yeah, Andrew. other Andrew says 6.
That's chilly, but it's still winter.
It's a little chilly there in upside down land. So thank you for joining us, everyone. Please, share your comments in the YouTube, or come reach out to us on the developer site or in the SN Devs channel. We always love to hear from you. If you've got ideas on how we can improve the app, reach out, share, and join us for the next time. So we don't know exactly when the next time we'll do something for this application, but we'll work it in. I foresee some usefulness that we could use in upcoming release of ServiceNow that's around the corner that we might take advantage of.
So we are what now? 7 days away, 6 days away from Paris EA early access. Kids,
I don't know when that is.
23rd
until it happens.
It's dated for the 23rd, and we're recording this on the 17th. So keep a watch, kids. Hopefully next Thursday we'll be able to start upgrading our PDIs to Paris.
And so thank you everyone for joining us, and we will look forward to seeing you next time here on Live Code Happy Hour. And have a great weekend or a day whenever you happen to be watching this in the future. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.